Oh, you're just gonna stop? Okay, you're gonna. I thought I was just gonna. All right. Welcome, watchbackers, to finding things within and without 25. We're gonna do a little reading of the DeSoto Chronicles while we hang out for a minute though and let everybody get in here. So, how's our chat tonight, bro? Is there a chat?
No, I'm just sharing this for now. I'll check afterwards.
Yeah. Okay. That's what I'm doing too. We'll see if Riverside gets their act together and gives us a chat this evening because we want to talk to you. That's kind of why we're here. Watchbackers, please forgive us while we attend PR. We didn't generate the link ahead of time today because we just had things going on, you know?
I only had 7 hours of meetings today, so.
So you got the Steve treatment today?
Well, this time I scheduled the meeting. I needed to talk to him after talking to Sarah.
Ah, yes. You did have a full day. Can you talk about it?
It was good. Let me just do this share.
Okay. So we're both trying to. I get it. I got to multitask alone here. See, I'm doing the same thing you're doing, but
Yeah,
I'm accounting. I'm accounting for the fact that
It,
people are
it
already
was
in here.
okay until I was doing mechanical stuff. Now that I'm creating stuff, it's.
So I would like to hear anything you want to say when you're done about your meetings today. I was aware of your meetings today. I was engaged in what feels like high school drama on X. That's kind of not that that's what I did all day, but you know that's sort of what I've been doing the past hour or so. Um, and of course, I got out into the creek in the wild, and I'm checking all links, and everything looks good, man. So I'll drop. Did you drop one in the Discord? I bet they don't even know we're here. I'll go do it.
No, they said we were doing makeup. That's why we're so late.
Is Jacqueline home from work yet? Are you there,
Which is
Jacqueline?
half true, because I don't use it, but one of us does.
Okay, there we go. We've got everything titled and out, I believe.
You don't expect people to believe that that pink
Shit,
color
this work.
is natural.
Who's pink color?
Only one of us is pink in the face.
Oh, me? I mean, I don't know. You look kind of
A
pinkish.
lot of powdery.
I went out. Well, I was in the sun today. I was out in the field. Reed. That's what I was doing today. Reed Farmer, archaeologist, asked me on X, "When's the last time you were in the field?" I said, "Today." It's true. I live and breathe it. You know, it's one other thing. I'm trying to educate these people a little bit on each of these shows, Ricardo, about me because it's obvious they don't. They don't know anything, and why would they? And why should they? But they engage with me in
Sure.
such a manner that lets me know that they don't know anything about me. So it's
Well,
kind of humorous.
he does have a point, because you only go to the field about 345 days, so
It's true.
you're not doing your best. You
It's
could do
true.
more. You could do more.
I'm gonna live out there. You know, that's gonna be the signs that I finally have money, Ricardo. Is I'll never be in a house. You'll never see me indoors. That's how you'll know is because I will be
Anyone
living
seen
in
Jason?
the
Oh,
field.
do you see the Mongolian tent over there in the field?
He's at work. There's look for a hammock and smoke. Okay. If it starts to smell like burning cedar and you hear a hammock swinging, you're
The
close.
strong scent of incense.
Right? You're close. You're close.
When you see the black dog with the plastic wings attached, that's where Jason.
You can't see his eyes. You can't see shit about him at nighttime, bro. Like nothing. It's kind of dangerous, but it's also very helpful, I guess, if people were to come looking for me. which, you know, is an actual concern. You know, I promise you, I've got people that would, in this real world, that would happily see me dead. I've got attorneys that have texted me as much. So I've had Southern Mafia members warn me, you know, these archaeologists in this little high school drama they like to do on X and make assumptions about everybody is really, it's stress relief for a dude like me who, you know, spends my life not only out there in the field finding all this stuff daily, you know, but also communing with spirit and educating myself on spiritual matters as well as finding the material stuff, but also fighting corruption, kind of where I found it in my own life, you know, and that pisses people off. You know, and I'm learning, Ricardo. Here's what I learned today: is that people just kind of get mad when you use your voice and you show them that you have eyeballs that work. Like they don't like it when you start doing that, you know, and it starts like revealing aspects of their character, you know.
How dare you?
I know. Well, you know, look, man, how you gonna use a dead guy's name to insult a researcher just because you don't agree with his work? You know, like like double check me. Is that not just fucking? That's weird. It's troublesome. It's not a healthy example. You know, but not to
You
get
can't-
bogged down in my little the things that
I-
irked me today.
I would suggest that is because they have nothing else to say.
It's true.
Because as I was telling you, if I was to get involved in these things, is to call them to, if you want to talk in social media, teach. Don't criticize. Just teach. You might be right or wrong, but at least you're saying what you think you know. Because
Right.
that's what everybody else is doing, is saying
Right.
what they think they know, right?
And approach me as a man, right? Don't, you know, that's the other thing I've noticed upset people is they like to first of all, they want you to believe their words. They want you to believe their words and not their actions. Like that's troublesome.
Just
what's-
when saying Sarah. That's the
what does
problem.
Steve wanna?
That's the problem, Sarah. It's give me a second because I don't want to say it wrong. It's Sarah Dunlap. It's not you, Sarah. So you are off the hook, okay? It's not about you. I had a meeting with Sarah Dunlap today, and then I had to talk to Steve.
Who is Sarah Dunlap?
She's the bright lady that is organizing the conference.
So okay, well I thought it was Sarah Brayley. I guess I'm mistaken. Brayley, like Braille, like blind people reading, you know, Braille. You had a bunch of meetings today, didn't you? That's why she's SB Flint in the Discord.
I don't know. I took the name from the email. So
Maybe we're talking about different people, or maybe there's a maiden name.
it's
I don't know.
it's the lady.
But we're
that-
talking about
that,
the same lady, yeah.
that the girls interviewed. Yes. We don't talk to that many ladies. So
Right. That's obvious. That's obvious. And I don't usually talk to many archaeologists, but I did today, and I got insulted more times than when I talked to like my ex-wife. I mean, it's pretty crazy. Yeah. Should we share that before we start reading? Okay. I want people to like double check me because I feel like maybe I'm being crazy, but it really kind of like it bothered me in like a very moral and ethical way, like this post, y'all, on social media. And maybe I'm overreacting. You know, that's always a possibility. Like, granted, but I don't think I am because when I pointed out that this was troublesome, and then I asked for evidence, first of all, of what you're saying this dead man said in order to slander this independent researcher, and I still haven't received that evidence, right? But what I did receive was a bunch of people trying to make fun of me, you know, and like ask who I thought I was to be asking questions, you know, and that just to me reveals character, you know. And it so happened today that an independent researcher, Graham Hancock, put out a cool post about an archaeologist, Ed Barnhart, who disagrees vehemently with what Graham has to say on many topics, right? But they put out an excellent, showing how human beings can be human beings. We are not these titles we carry around with us. And then so when I saw this lead excavator, Lee Clare of Göbekli Tepe, using this dead man and like to try to insult this author, it just sat with me very wrongly, to make something up there. And so I wanted to like start asking questions, and the treatment I got when I started asking questions was pretty revealing.
Look, I understand why it makes you feel like that, but I'll give you an example. When I started to reach...
Well, you may not, because remember, I'm shaman, I'm extra in touch, and I guarantee you what's actually going on is Klaus Schmidt is over here going, I don't want you to do that, motherfucker. I like the independent researchers. And I'm just like, chill the fuck out, Klaus. I'll tell him, damn, They think I'm playing. So I just pop in there and I'm like, what the fuck are you doing using a dead man's, name to insult this guy? And like, that's before I even knew I was saying it, because like Klaus was just like, and I'm like, all right, dude, chill. I got you, And then I was like, they're firing off at me. And I'm like, it's not even about me. But now that I'm here and you're being assholes, I'll play,
It's just that... How should I put it? It's just the way the world is. And...
It is. And I'm tired of pretending otherwise. I'm getting a little sick of it. I'm getting a little sick of expecting the best out of people because they just fucking disappoint me every time, Ricardo.
Okay, let me ask you this.
I've been burned so many times by expecting people to do the right thing that I'd kind of be a fool to be expecting it anymore.
But can you reach...
My pocket full of rocks, field work. Like, I'm serious. Oh, Apache tears. Look, remember like Vince? I found a big one today.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Is that first of all, our lives have a very small circle of influence when humanity is what we are encompassing here, right?
Yes.
And from that circle of influence, the people that we actually manage to change, and this doesn't mean that we are right or wrong, just change,
right,
is even smaller. It's just a fraction of the people within that circle, right?
Right.
It might be someone that you just bought a sandwich and gave it in the street because it was hungry, or might be someone that you have lived all your life with.
I don't think I'm expecting anybody to change. I don't think that's what my engagement was about.
Well, if you're not looking to teach the world or change it.
I think sometimes when something bothers you, like your moral compass, right? When it like bothers you, I think you have to like say something, like that's kind of how I operate. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with asserting that this is bothersome to me. This kind of feels wrong to me. Like,
this is an excellent example. Cool to say? Can you go to the Discord and play that video that I sent everybody on why we should speak?
I don't have Discord on my PC. You don't either.
Oh, let me see if I can do it.
I can't control the notifications, so I took it off because it was just like boom, at all hours.
Let me see if I can find it. Considering we don't talk much in our group,
I guess,
I only have to retweet 150 posts.
We take quite seriously the idea of independent researchers, and it's interesting to me to continue to example that it's not independent researchers that are causing the problem. I mean, people like to throw being friends with like Dan the debunker up in your face, you know what I mean, like all the time. And it's like, what are you doing, man? I'm not throwing somebody else's words up in your face. I did this conversation. Why are you doing this, And that kind of behavior is irksome as well. But yeah, go ahead, Ricardo. So, it's more about, just breaking apart the sort of treatment you receive and the words people say, but then the way they behave towards you is interesting, And especially when I've, sort of moving through this time with archaeology as an independent researcher, right? And I'm allied with you guys, right? We're all in this together, the Institute for Natural Philosophy, and everybody else that we call friend and independent researcher in this world, right? So I'm kind of naturally, allied with that, right? So when I see someone that went to a particular school and has a particular piece of paper that just likes to go, look at fucking me, I'm more important than you,
Play this video, because I think it's exactly what we're talking about. Play that video.
It's
a
like
small one.
some days you just got to call that shit out, man.
It's on the studio chat.
Okay. And I guess I'm also going through trying to understand, like, in real world, I was burned real bad by academic archaeology. It was criminal what they did, right? I mean, I got emails, man, and I haven't said a lot about that. I put out one video, and I've just been watching these archaeologists on X, and I've got a few that have engaged quite earnestly with me and quite nicely. What's up, JT? But, none of it erases the fact that, see, where I approach life from, Ricardo, is we're all men, right? We're all men before we're anything else, before we're our titles, before we're what we think we're worth.
Some of those men now are women.
It's true. We run into all kinds of issues. That was an issue that was put to me by one of these archaeologists.
But it's fine, because some of the women are now men, so I think it's more or less balanced. So.
They said, what are you doing here, basically? It's like, so you don't know the people that were involved? Why are you talking, And I was like, oh, okay, cool, I got it. So now your issue is that I have an issue with this, and I'm using my voice. It's like once they get outside their little boxes, they get mad, because in classrooms and shit, they can tell people to shut the fuck up, or they fail them, And on the job, they can tell people to do what they say, or I'm going to tell everybody bad things about you and you won't work again, right? And so they're used to that. But then they get out here with like real motherfuckers, and real human beings who are like, hey, I'm a man, you're a man, let's talk like that. You see real quickly that they all like to say, well, I'm that. And then as soon as you enter that room with them and go, all right, let's see, I'm a man, talk to me like a man, they can't help. They cannot help but start going, ha ha, you don't do real research. Ha ha, you don't belong at this table. You don't belong in the Sigma Alpha fraternity group meeting. You're not allowed to discuss things here because you do not have the years of qualification and staying late after school to do homework when you could have been investigating the real world, man, okay? You don't have a right to be in this meeting. That's what they start doing to you. And it's insulting, and it's prideful, and it's part of what's wrong with public discourse. I don't have any problem with any human being that treats me like a human being. And I usually don't have a problem with a human being that treats me like a piece of shit. Like, I don't care how you treat me. But when I see you start to treat other human beings as less than human being, you're gonna get my attention, right? And I don't believe that's a character flaw. I don't, because this world, I was one who's been taken advantage of, I've had wrong done to me, a lot. So I know what to expect out there. And if you want to surprise me, then treat me like a human being and prove me wrong, right? I had one dude tell me today, man, I swear we ought to show this thread. He said, I'm just studying this bizarre behavior from you. And I was like, all right, dude, well, what was so fucking bizarre about me expressing the fact that I have a problem with the tone and timbre and the use of this dead man who you still have not provided me with the source for? You know what he comes back with? Oh, then being insulted is a lot easier for you than doing real research. So I said, you're making a lot of assumptions there, buddy, kind of like you do in the field with the story about our past, huh? Can you tell I got a little worked up? Because
that reminds me of this fellow writing this poem. That is.
All right, share it.
Excuse me, mister, do you have the time? Or are you so important that it stands still for you? Excuse me, mister, won't you lend me your ear? Or are you not only blind, but you do not hear? So excuse me, mister, but I'm a mister too. And you are giving mister a bad name, mister like you.
Bam! I want a copy. Where is that?
Oh, this is Ben
It's-
Harper's. Excuse me,
It's
mister.
not wrong to stick up for manhood, to stick
Yeah,
up
but-
for gentlemanliness, to stick up for being a decent human being.
Play that
You
video
know?
because that's your message. Play that video.
Okay. Listen, I'm in the wrong chat. Studio chat. Okay. Okay, pause. Okay, and now we gotta share. Why staying silent enables injustice. Amen.
What is your name?
My name is Alexis.
Alexis. Please leave my lecture room. I don't want to see you at one of my lectures ever again.
I don't understand.
I am not going to ask a second time. Thank you.
It's a beautiful lesson.
Why are there laws? What are laws for? Anyone?
Social order?
To protect the person's personal rights.
So that you can rely on the government?
Justice? Thank you. Tell me, was I unfair to your classmate just now? Indeed, I was. So, why didn't any of you protest? Why didn't any of you try and stop me? Why didn't you want to prevent this injustice? You see, what you have just learnt, you wouldn't have understood in 1,000 hours of lectures unless you lived it. You didn't say anything because you weren't affected yourself. And this attitude speaks against you and against life. You think it doesn't concern you, so it's none of your business. Well, I'm here to say, if you don't help bring about justice, then one day you too may experience injustice. And there will be nobody there to stand before you. You there, second desk, blue jacket. What is your...
That's right. That's perfect, dude. When I was down there at that local city council meeting, and there was a local pastor that he saw it on TV, and he came down, and I got video of him afterwards, because he said, I just saw y'all and I wanted to come down. He said, because people all the time tell me, all the time, Pastor, you're giving it to them. I'm praying for you. And he says, well, now, okay, that's fine. First of all, I don't need you to pray for me. I kind of got that worked out on myself, okay? But what I do need is for you to come stand with me, right? I need for you to like raise your hand too and go, hey, I have eyeballs and they work and this shit is wrong. Like, it's not how you do it. It's not how you behave. It's not how human beings operate by my compass, right? So precisely to your point, bro. Sometimes you just got to let folks know, you know, because otherwise, just as your video said, who's gonna stand up for you?
You see, when
I
you
never would have got involved if
a
they hadn't have picked on my friends, though, to be honest with you.
if you have a flock of sheep and they run away, someone is going to stand on the bottom line and it's going to
Yeah.
be caught.
Yeah.
But if every single sheep turns their head to the wolf and said, hey, motherfucker, come now, right?
Exactly.
We are legion.
Exactly.
He has no chance.
No. Nope.
So
And just like that wolf in sheep's clothing, you know, as soon as you recognize that wolf in sheep's clothing, I mean, you're kind of obligated to expose the motherfucker, you know, otherwise you're sort of taking part in the slaughter of the sheep, you know. So there's also that aspect of it too. You know, what I text Sarah you earlier today was like, what I say? Shed thy skin, wolf, I see. You know, shed thy sheepskin, wolf, I see you. You know, there's a little bit of that in it as well. You know,
Chapter 8, versicle 3 from Jason's Bible.
right? Exactly. I see you, wolf, looking all coy over there with that fake ass sheepskin on.
Masses are on Sunday, 3 p.m.
Little sheep
Everybody's
come
welcome.
I come walking up in here, little sheep. You can't help but lick your lips. I see you. I see you wanting to take a big bite out of my sheepy ass. Don't trick me. I'm not stupid.
But it's a double-edged knife, because on one hand, what that gentleman said on that video is absolutely correct, right? Because on that moment, it mattered. Because someone could actually learn something, right?
Right.
But when you're talking about the web, we're talking about the exposure to, because in the street we are only exposed to a tiny percentage of the population, and still we find that almost 70% of the people are retarded. On the internet,
Me being one of them. I'm
Sure.
their leader.
on
My
the other
island.
on the other hand, on the internet, the number is much higher, because that's the way that these people that have problem with themselves manage to exorcise their demons, right?
See, yeah.
So it's to a point where you think, is this really going to change anything? Is this really going to teach anybody anything? Or the only thing that comes out of it is just my own satisfaction because I did something?
Well, okay, that's an interesting point, but it kind of goes back to those kids in the classroom in your video, right? Now, what motivated one of them to stand up? Does it really matter if he stood up and he made a difference? Like, you know, even if he didn't make a difference, he made a difference in the girl's life because he stood up for her, right?
I can tell you
know.
what the difference is. If they all said, why is she leaving? Why are you doing this? And he throw them all out, there will be 7 to go to the directors and say, that guy is an asshole. It wouldn't be 1,
Yeah.
right? Why are you the only one who has that opinion? The other ones seem to like him. But if everybody goes,
Right.
because he put everybody out of the room, then he's the minority, because the masses are united, right?
Right.
And the problem is that exactly what he mentioned. Everybody's trying to fending from himself.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so what was on their mind, their individual mind, is she's out of the fucking class.
Yes.
I'm not going to make this course if I say something,
Yes.
right? Because I need this for my life. Because they never imagined that they could be all together. And if they are all together, is the teacher that is in the trouble. It's not them. It's that survival instinct that, okay, it's sad, but it's another sheep this time, so it wasn't me. The wolf is getting another one, right?
Well, yeah.
Oh, he was lame anyway. So
I think motivation's check, man. I mean, look, one guy in that chain I was involved in today, he asked me, he was like, does this have anything to do with you? You know? And I mean, the honest answer was no, right? Like, no, actually. You know, and that's part of how I know my motivation is checked. You know, I checked it because it doesn't have anything to do with me. I was like putting myself out there for somebody I do not know. The only thing I know about him is he's an independent researcher, and some people I respect have referenced his work, right? The only thing I know about Lee Clare is that he's the lead excavator of Göbekli Tepe, right? I had no reason whatsoever to interject
that's not
myself.
the only thing we know. We
Other
also know
than
he's very
it
eloquent.
bothered
He
me.
even knows the word abhorrent. which is not a
He
common word
does.
to be used.
That was the first boo boo. You know, you don't mess with my friends like any decent friend. You know, you now have my attention. You know, and just why are you messing with people? Why is that part of your day? Like that's kind of what it boils down to too, is why are you in your position taking part of your day to shit on somebody's life work just because? Like I don't as a human being, I don't understand that. You can try to rationalize it to me, but it doesn't mean I understand that behavior.
Mr. Dr. Leclerc, when was the last time you made a post with some real information instead of a critic
That's true.
to someone else?
Teach.
When
Teach.
can I go into your feed and find anything that is actually related to informing the people about your work and your research?
Right.
Any.
When did people stop caring about setting examples, right? I mean, you know, not only
people are
the
too busy
troublesome
to set
issue of
examples.
invoking the dead man's words, which can't be verified, right? And he's not here to change his position or whatever, right? It's just it's kind of unethical if you want to get right down to it, right?
And you have
But why
saying,
disregard the fact that you are in this case, you are teaching every other young archaeologist, young person that looks up to you, you're teaching them that that's how you treat independent researchers, of which I am one, of which Ricardo is one, and of which that's some bullshit, y'all. You know, and see, here's the thing. I found Mabilla. I've got it, right? I've got everything that I have found over the past 8 years. I've got more than anybody in any academic pursuit on this topic has found. Like, that's just a fact, and you're going to have to wrestle with that and come deal with that, right? That's where I am. So why in the world would I sit back and let the attitude towards what I am, an independent researcher, be set at such a low, kind of despicable bar, right? I wouldn't, and I don't.
that's
You know,
because
and
they
that's
still
where I
think-
was today.
They still think it matters to defend a horse that has long passed away, but they still think it matters, and that's the problem. There's a little bit of feminine wisdom for you. So
Oh, absolutely. Look, I need to show video, so I need to give the audience context. You can keep going, Ricardo, but while I was engaged in these posts, I want everybody to see. Can you see this picture? Let's see. Yeah. So I'm on the creek with dragonflies landing on my feet.
oh, that's not a hole on your feet. That's a
No,
dragonfly.
look, that's a dragonfly.
Oh, that's a dragonfly. Yeah.
And this is a live video of him just chilling. And so this is me out bonding with nature, you know, and finding artifacts in one of my usual spots here in Chief Tuscaloosa's
How do you manage to get the Sasquatch to be still for
territory.
so long?
Well, I am the Sasquatch, that's how.
Oh,
So the audience should well note that was my demeanor this whole thing, right? You know, I'm out there in it. And what's so funny is I got asked how often I do field work, or when's the last time I did field work while I was standing out there, Ricardo.
I'm doing it now, motherfucker.
Oh, how often do you do field work? Daily. You? Yeah. See, it's disrespect. I'm a little over the disrespect in general towards people.
Yeah, but you have
know.
to understand that what you call field work to them is, oh, there's another guy playing with pebbles.
Yeah,
don't know what
except
they're
for the
doing.
fact that I've found more about the native culture in this area than any of their pursuits have to date. And I will say that standing on your coffee table in my bare feet, because I have it in my hands,
At least
in
in one, I
myself,
saw that.
in my body, in my work. It's all here, right? So I'm not in a competition. I'm not looking for verification. I'm just here as an independent dude that has found a lot more than they have collectively on a particular issue. And so I do have the right and the justification with my 8 years of field experience and my evidence, which is beyond anything any of you in your careers have put forth to date. Thank you kindly. I do then, I believe, have the right, and we're back to me double checking everything here, to exert myself for one of my fellows when you decide to invoke a dead man's word against one of my fellows, because I want to be treated like a man. I want to be treated like just like you want to be treated. There's a reason it's the golden rule, right? There's a reason that I do have a reputation online for engaging positively, as one of these archaeologists pointed out today, right? But I'm also not going to, as Ricardo's video pointed out, and I don't think any of us at the Institute for Natural Philosophy will, stand by idly while we are mocked and ridiculed for being what we are, because we would never do that to you.
Let me tell you a family story. One of the brothers of my grandfather, I don't know how to say it in English, had a house where one of the walls of the building is right to the road where it narrows it in this town. And so he was shaving himself, and the window of the bathroom goes straight to that narrow point.
Yeah.
And there was the bus driver and the car having a fight of who was to pass first. Right? And the bus driver decided just to press the horn and just scream while he was pressing the horn to silence the other guy. And my relative went to the window and said, what the hell are you doing? With manners, but said, what the hell are you doing? This is a residential area, and you are screaming and honking like a madman. And the guy opened the door of the bus and told him, what the fuck do you want, you clown? Because he had all the, right? And so, because most of my family do have a kind of temper that doesn't disappear with time, he took the number of the bus, he phoned to know when the bus will getting to the final station where he parking the bus at the end of the shift. And he was there waiting for him. And so, coincidentally, there are two of his brothers, one brother and one son-in-law of that brother, also seated in the bus in the final point of the line. And so he goes and he knocks on the door when the guy already stopped the bus. And when he opened the door, a guy goes to him and, who are you? And the guy, and he turns to him and said, me? I'm the clown. And smacked him in the face.
Right.
So in this case...
Remember the book you judge by its cover? Hi, motherfucker. I'm here to be read now. Yeah.
So one of these days, I'm sure you'll have the opportunity to reach him out in your own facility. And he's going to give a speech. And when he asks, who are you? I'm the guy that you scorn online, you motherfucker.
Right. Well, it's no good to scorn me, and that is, again, the lesson here today, folks, is that I really didn't have a dog in the fight, other than my moral compass was extremely perturbed on behalf of some of my fellows.
Well, to me, it's not what they say. It's not what they say, because I do believe in freedom of speech and of opinion.
Exactly.
And it's just words, but it's the fact that it takes the time to do it. That's what I find disturbing.
Dude, I shared today in the conversation, the picture, I could share it here now, guys. So I shared this picture in the conversation. I think everybody knows because they shared it. But look here. So I shared this, and dude, one of them went to the time to rewrite it. Okay, so I've got this little saying I like: "We the willing, led by the unknowing." Or can you see it?
Yeah.
Is it sharing?
Yeah, it's sharing.
For the ungrateful. We have done so much for so long with so little. We are now qualified to do anything with nothing. Now, I like that, right? And when somebody makes fun of me by calling me a pseudoscientist, right? I will invoke that. I'll say exactly. I've got a little quote that says, "Pseudoscientists out here proudly spreading missing information." Okay, so somebody responded. Let me find him. Here he is. Okay, so we don't have his real name, but check this stuff out, dude. Can you see now? Am I sharing X?
Nope.
Okay, check out this level. All right, so let me stop sharing here. Boom. Okay, close you. All right, share. So somebody, after I posted that picture and said, pseudoscientist proudly spreading missing information reporting for duty. All right, he came back with this, and I couldn't do anything but laugh and like tell him I respected how much time this took. So he rewrote it. Here, I fixed your gospel of pseudoscience for you. We, the ignorant, led by the unknowing, are disputing the possible for the grateful. We have done so little for so long with so much. We are all unqualified to do nothing with anything. Now, props, right? Like, props. That's fucking hilarious. But, like, how much time? You know? How much time, bro?
You have
Just-
if you share the original, you have to understand that there's only a part of it that they can read, and the only part they read is that we are doing the impossible for the grateful. That's the only thing that can read that and
Right.
and
You know,
think for
that's-
themselves.
That is to the heart of, I guess, the other thing that perturbs me here, Ricardo, is we've got all this knowledge, we being independent researchers, right? And me, who is the only one I can speak for. Let me stop sharing. Look, man, I didn't ask anything from you to bring you all that I found. I didn't ask you for money. I didn't ask you for status. I didn't ask you for any damn thing, because information and knowledge about the story of our past belongs to all of us, right? So, when you come to me with, you know, that ungrateful thing and you want to fire back, see, that's why it doesn't bother me, because it doesn't matter, but they're the ungrateful, right? Because we are here. I have sacrificed so much and will continue to sacrifice so much to tell the story of Chief Tuscaloosa, to tell the story of what happened here, to tell the truth about the native peoples of this area, and to correct the erroneous narrative that we have been force-fed, right? And I have done that this entire time before any of these people have heard of me and decided to call me a pseudo, right? So that's the other thing that I guess sort of gets to me is, you know, they like to use that word grifter, man, so much towards independent researchers. And it's like, man, words have weight, y'all. It's like calling somebody racist, you know, and they use these slurs like pseudo and grifter. And you got people over here that got their lives, their sweat, their blood, their tears, and their sacrifice in this work. And I don't give a fuck if you disagree with it. That doesn't give you the right to smear people and to use insulting slurs. And it never will, you know? Not in my damn book, anyway. Not as long as I get a say in what it means to be a decent human being by sitting here and being one. You know, the Bible says, judge not. People forget. They like to say, judge not or you'll be judged. That's not what it damn says. It says, judge not or you will be judged by the bar with which you judge. Right? Now, as one who is out here sacrificing my time, my energy, my efforts on behalf of the whole, because I believe the information I have is important to everybody, you don't really have a footing to stand on to come at me or any of my compatriots with the word grifter. You really don't, you know. Yeah. What can I say? I'm just letting it out today.
Let it all out. Let it all out.
It's one of those days, dude. You know, sometimes you just gotta say something, man. Look, y'all, I'm dealing with real stuff in the real world too. You know, I mentioned that at the beginning. Like, so in a lot of ways, some of this is just stress relief for me. You know, watching these people take this stuff so seriously. You know, when it's not, it's just kind of laughable. You know, it's kind of bullshit. And there's real people out here suffering every day. You know, having their families ripped apart, their kids taken from them. You know, there's real pain and there's real consequences for people that are involved in those battles, you know, trying to bring those things to light, you know. So I guess because, you know, when you start standing up to things in the real world and things that matter, you just, all this bullshit starts to kind of clarify for you and you lose some of your tolerance for it. You know, I've been a real quiet dude, you know, with all these mainstream guys. I've kind of haven't really engaged with them unless they sought me out, you know, and then they learn pretty quickly, like Dan Fallow, as soon as you start trying to fuck with me and make fun of me, you know, you get busted in a lie. And now I know you're a liar, you know, professionally, and the whole world does too, you know. And so, yeah, I guess I'm done now. Does it check out? Was it okay what I did?
Yeah.
Thanks, boss. Okay, meeting adjourned. I was here pleading my case with the boss, y'all. We gonna read some books?
Yeah.
All right. Let's check in with chat. Remember to hydrate when you're dealing with chumps. You're right. I'm going to go get some water, and we're going to segue into our book. Ricardo, you can leave closing words for the Institute of Natural Philosophy after my totally irresponsible tirade. I'm going to get some water. I'll be right back.
What can I say? It's our Jason, and he's not wrong. That's the thing. He is not wrong. But I still think, that I said, I'm not sure if we should indulge these people, because this is what keeps them alive in the online apps, because that's all they do. So if nobody answered, if nobody reacted, they will be talking to themselves. So it's sometimes
Okay,
we,
Christos.
we do have
Thank
to
you,
say
sir.
something.
Hydration. See, teamwork makes the dream work. Thank you, Christos. And we are ready to continue learning about the Hernando de Soto expeditions encounters
did-
here in the New World.
Did we start at the mass, or is that the name of someone in the chat?
Or is that?
You said something about Christus.
Oh, Catman Catplan. His name is Christos.
Okay.
That's his real, yeah, that's his real name. Did you see, last week he came on my show. He came on here.
No, I haven't.
Last
I
week.
didn't saw.
Yeah, he's been on here. And we were joking around because Randall Carlson, one of the last podcast appearances he did that he put out, apparently the producer was named Christos because you kept hearing Randall go, okay, Christos, and now there and there. So we were having fun with me being able to go, okay, Christos, now look up. Yeah, Christos.
Yeah. Jacqueline says, the difference is in the hearts. We are in the pursuit of truth and knowledge, and they are in pursuit of a paycheck. It's projection. They are the ones drifting.
Yeah. Do you know the peer review system was a money racketeering invention of Robert
Yeah.
Maxwell, the father of Ghislaine Maxwell? Like, seriously, I need you to tell me, why should I take that system seriously?
Well, I think
Like, for
I
real.
think you will enjoy. We Jason agreed, and we are going to read. We are going to read Stardust. That is one of my books, and in that
Head of PR says she needs to meet with me. I violated terms and conditions. Oh. We
And so
haven't
you-
written that part of the manual yet. Ha ha! Can't write me up on that.
you'll
Go
find.
ahead, boss.
I was just saying, you'll find lots of sections, if not the whole damn thing, is what you've just been doing. So, with examples. So, I think we'll have fun by reading it.
Your book?
Yeah.
You want to read it now?
No, now you're doing the Chronicles. That's what we told people we were going to do.
This writer, man, he like, I mean, I know it was 400 or whatever years ago, you know. So, and I was a Shakespeare not only studier but ardent, you know, fan and believer in the work, you know. So I can do wordy language, but like this guy, man, you'll see. I mean, y'all know what I'm talking about. He like doesn't understand what commas and periods are, and he doesn't do very well with like time sequence.
You have to understand when he wrote it.
I know, and I know. I'm just talking
What-
about the
what
guy
you're
that's reading
saying
for
is-
2 hours every other day.
Is
It
that
gets a
the
little-
translator was very vigilant to keep the original, right?
Most definitely. I mean, I'm grateful for the work. What you're hearing is the guy that has to read it and try to sort of, you know, make it listenable. It's not the easiest text in the world to do said task with. That's all. And your book would be a welcome relief, is where I'm going.
We'll
Ricardo
see.
pitched this idea to me the other day, and I was like, when? Now? Like next time? Yeah. He was like, well, no, continuity. I was like, fuck continuity. This guy's getting on my nerves. All right, so let's pull up the DeSoto Chronicles.
This is not. What's the name? Rosencrantz and
Guildenstern.
and Guildenstern
Yeah,
are there. This is not that.
Rosencrantz.
This has
That's
continuity.
such a good play. That's
Yeah,
such a good
it's
play.
just amazing.
The dialogue is so damn good. It's so fun. We should do Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, dude. We should. That's what we should do. Audience vote. Do you want Ricardo and Jason to do a reading of Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead?
That
Yeah.
would be great.
The royalties are. We'll handle it. We can do it. All right. So, I've got to jump all the way to where we were, and that was past page 100, but before page 800, if I remember correctly. So I'm going to start at 800. Okay, we were at the governor goes to Osa, Chile. Okay, we read this, how they build the mounds, right? That was an excellent section. I really liked that part. Second part of the second book of the history of La Florida. The Spaniards reach Apalachee and the resistance. That's what we did last time. Keep going. The Spaniards and the swamp. You remember the swamp? And okay, then the continuous fighting. We didn't get this far. Okay.
You see, had the natives imported saltwater alligators, they wouldn't have this problem.
Right. These swamps are a mess around here, dude. They're a mess. I can't wait for you to come down here and jump in one with me. It takes some nerve. It takes some nerve, and to imagine trying to do it with, you know, horses and armor is. It was. I can't imagine, dude. You know, I walk through these swamps a lot, and I'll try to envision, you know, and I'll have sort of my third eye, you know, populate the swamp with these men and these horses and this armor, and it seems like such a nightmare. Such a nightmare. And to imagine fighting the whole time, my goodness. Okay, so we've got them on their way to Apalachee, which Ricardo was confused because you know the Appalachians, and we cleared that up. Okay. Yeah. Of the continuous fighting that took place until the arrival at the chief town of Apalachee. La 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 la. It seemed to Governor Hernando de Soto that they had done enough for that day in having got out of the forest where they had encountered such difficulties, and in having partially punished the Indians. Thus, he did not wish to go farther, but encamped his army on that. You can't. You're going to break me.
I'm like the guy looking at the script and saying, La 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 la. I don't have that part here.
Writing our own. We're the actor and the director in this thing, baby. It seemed to Hernando, la la la, okay. Thus he did not wish to go farther, but he encamped his army on that plain, it being a place clear of timber. The camp was pitched near a small town where the settlements and cultivated fields of the province of Appalachia began, so renowned and famous throughout that country. The Indians were unwilling to repose on the following night, nor did they allow the Christians to rest from the bad days and nights that they had given them after their arrival at the swamp. Throughout the night, they never ceased their shouts, alarms, and sudden attacks at all hours, shooting many arrows into the camp. The whole night passed with this uneasiness on both sides, without their coming to blows. When daylight came, the Spaniards marched through some large fields of maize, beans, calabashes, and other vegetables. The fields on both sides of the road extending across the plain, out of sight. You hear this? And it was 2 leagues through them. Among the fields were scattered a large number of separate houses at a distance from one another and not in the form of a town. The Indians came very hastily out of these houses and fields to shoot arrows at the Castilians, persisting in their desire and eagerness to kill or wound them. The latter, offended by such pertinacity. You know, I just thought of something. I got asked by somebody today, why don't I do any research? It's like, that shows you, Ricardo, they don't notice it. Like, we're sitting here reading the first-hand accounts 3 nights a week. You know, it's like, man, eyeballs, they work for a reason, people. When daylight came, the Spaniards marched through some large fields of
of gravity.
Right. So, okay, we've got a 2 league, which is, what, we're talking 3 miles, I think, roughly?
Yeah,
by
roughly,
the math.
yeah.
Yeah, of the 3 sisters, corn, beans, and squash, and other vegetables. Boy, they were just butt-flap wearing hunter-gatherers, weren't they?
No farming.
No, not at all. A 3-mile cornfield? No. That's just nature did that.
That's the devil's work.
pareidolia. That's pareidolia is what that is.
No, it must be the devil's work because it wasn't God, since they were the
Oh yeah, the Christians.
heathens.
The Christians bringing their rape and homicide amongst these heathens. Among the fields were scattered a large number of to see whether they could overcome. Okay. The latter, offended by such pertinacity and angered by the obstinacy of rancor they perceived in them, lost patience and speared them without mercy all through the cornfields to see whether they could overcome or punish them by force of arms. But it was all in vain, because the anger and wrath the Indians felt towards the Christians seemed to increase with the latter's desire for revenge.
How odd.
How odd. Having passed over 2 leagues of cultivated fields, they came to a deep stream carrying much water and having thick timber on either side. It was a very difficult crossing, and the enemy had reconnoitered it well and prepared to attack the Castilians there. The latter, seeing the obstacles, oh brother, where art thou? The obstacles in your path. Remember what he said about the obstacles. Okay, the latter, seeing the obstacles and the defenses at the pass, the best armed horsemen dismounted, and armed with swords and shields, and some with axes, they gained the pass and knocked down the palisades and barriers that had been built to prevent the horses from crossing and their masters from attacking. The Indians charged here with greatest impetus and fury, placing their last hope of overcoming the Christians at this bad crossing because it was so difficult. Here the fighting was furious, and many Spaniards were wounded and some killed, because the enemy fought rashly, making the last stand of desperate men. But they could not succeed in their evil intent. Look at this labeling. For the Castilians won the victory through the spirit and strength that they showed and the great efforts that they made, so that the injury might not be so great as they had feared to receive in such a dangerous place.
They're writing to their king. You have to understand
There's 300 men on horse, and you got a couple people running out of houses and shooting arrows at you, and you're riding through, spearing them mercilessly, and getting down on your horse because there's so little of a threat to kill them better. Yeah, valiant. Leaving the stream, the Castilians marched 2 leagues more through a country without cultivated fields or settlements. The Indians did not oppose them there because in the field they could not stand against the horses. Christians made camp in that place, which was clear of timber. So the Indians, with their fear of the horses, seeing them away from the woods, would allow them to sleep. After the past 4 days and 3 nights of watching and labor, they were in need of rest. But that night they slept as little as before, because the enemy, depending on the darkness, though in an open country, did not cease all night to give alarms and make sudden attacks on all sides of the camp. They disturbed the Castilians' rest so as not to lose the name and reputation the people of this province of Appalachia had gained among all their neighbors and friends, that of being the bravest and the most warlike. On the next day, which was the 5th after they crossed the swamp, as soon as the army began to march, the governor went ahead with 200 cavalry and 100 infantry, because he had learned from the Indian prisoners that 2 leagues from there was the town of Appalachia, and in it its chief with a large number of his bravest Indians, awaiting the Castilians to kill and quarter all of them. Go ahead.
I'm just going to say that he asked them nicely.
Yeah, I'm sure he did. Look,
There was
I've got
no
my-
screaming involved.
No whatsoever. There was probably no beheading and no cutting open of live human beings for pleasure. There was definitely no war dogs tearing people apart right in front of you while you watched and laughed, hoping that would teach the others a lesson. Yeah.
Nobody collecting noses.
Nope, definitely not. These
are
words...
Christians.
Christians. Worst example of Christians I've seen since, well, I won't say, because there's a lot of them. There's a lot of bad examples out there. These words are precisely those that the prisoners said to the governor. Although captives and in the power of their enemies, they did not lose their bravado and their pride at being natives of Appalachia. The general and his men traveled the 2 leagues, spearing as many Indians as they met on either side of the road. They reached the town and found that the chief, so, I mean, this is just a path of blood. I mean, we're like, that's clear. Since they left the swamp, they are making a trail of blood. They reached the town and found that the chief and his Indians had abandoned it. Knowing that they had not gone so far, the Spaniards followed and traveled 2 leagues more on the other side of the town. But though they killed and captured many Indians, they could not come up with Capafi. I guess that's, yeah. For so the chief was named, Capafi.
If only Chuck Norris was alive then.
Right? Chuck Norris once told a woman to be quiet, and she did. This is the first that we have found with a name different from his province. The adelantado Hernando returned to the town, which consisted of, oh, listen to this, 250 large and substantial houses in which he found all his army lodged. He settled himself in those belonging to the chief, which were on one side of the town, and as the rulers' dwellings were superior to all others. How fancy, Hernando. Besides this principal town, there were many others throughout that district. I mean, the disrespect, right? Like, man, it's just, I can't even call it Christians
How would the
anymore.
Castilians react if some guys with butt flaps and canoes
Showed up at
invaded?
your house, started
Yeah, invaded
blood killing everyone, and said, "Your house is my house now, motherfucker." Like,
It's like going to the king and say, "Look, man, you can stay here, but you have to start paying us and giving everything that I want of you." Right?
and,
you are
and I
now
gotta
a
stay in
vassal.
your house
Oh,
too.
yeah. Now you're a vassal of my king.
But if you do kiss my ass, I'm gonna let you keep having dinner at my table. Yeah, and any of my men will tell you it's like that's like a fancy, that's a time, man. We like sit around and we eat all the meat that we can't let all the poor people eat, and then we play with each other's genitals under the table. It's a great time.
Did you said with each other?
Yeah. Remember Hernando was caressing the young boys before he
Yeah.
sent the linen home with the, here, take some gifts to your parents.
Here's a bit of chocolate.
Right? Get in the white van. We're going to see your parents, I promise. Your parents sent me.
Eventually.
Right? Eventually.
Are you a Christian? Oh, so you're definitely going to see them.
Oh, boy. Don't get me started on them.
Hey, that's exactly what he said.
On Catholic priest. We told you not
Oh,
to come in
boy.
here, Father Murphy. Get away.
You know,
Everybody look him in his eyes until he leaves the room. Don't show him your backside.
it's like that priest that was going to marry this young couple, and she goes to him in the sacristy and and asks me, "Father, what is the church position regarding fellatio?" And he said, "My daughter, I would like to tell you, but I don't know what fellatio is." And then she showed him. And so from that time on, every time a young a young woman is about to marry ask him, "Father, what is the church position regarding fellatio?" I always tell them, "My child, I would love to tell you, but I don't know what fellatio is."
Yep. Yep. Did you know there was a pope that had orgy parties in St. Peter's? I mean, it's like it's known. It's a record. It's on record.
Yeah, it's not
Yeah.
one pope.
There's many, yeah. And you know, you've
Many
got
popes.
all the dead babies that were found in the walls of the monasteries in Europe. You know, we're not just coming out of left field here, folks. That's
Oh,
for sure.
they have and it was Jacqueline that told me. Although I think I had seen parts of it, but I didn't know it was going on now. I thought it was something old. You have now a documentary series or a series in television that is showing exactly the most scandalous period of that time, with when the Pope was appointed and was a member of the I can't remember the name of the family, the big family from Venice that sponsored Da Vinci, that's sponsored and teach
I don't know, the Florentines, the
No.
the Medicis,
the Medicis, the Medici
Medicis,
family.
yeah.
Yeah. When the Pope was a Medici, it was orgies every day,
Yeah.
banquets every day, right?
Yeah.
You even have a Pope that was a woman.
Yeah.
You
I
knew
believe
that?
it. I didn't know that, but I believe
Yeah.
it.
There was
Yeah,
one of
the-
the popes was a woman.
The Catholic Church as an organization, in my humble opinion, is not of God, you know, and I base that, dude, on one thing, and that's in my own personal experience. God is not a fan of secrets, you know, and that organization is all about secrets and power through secrets, and that's not the way the God I know rolls, you know. So I don't. They call these people Christians when all they're doing is they're just marching under a banner that lets them do things. It's like somebody that joins the mob, you know. It's like ultimately what he's doing is he's joined an organization that allows him to be a criminal, right? So that's what these people are doing. They just got this little banner up there going, "We're Christians because we get to be criminals and it's okay," you know. And that's just like blatant bullshit. It's kind of like having orgies in the church, you know. It's like, what the fuck are you doing, you know? Like, how are you going to tell me you're coming at me from God when you're killing people and you're having orgies? Like, get the fuck out of here. Anyway. See, that's why I don't like the language in this reading a lot. But we'll deal with it. Besides the principal town, there were, okay, so let's go back to them spearing everybody. That's where we were. With the name, okay. This is the, so Capafi, for the chief was the name. This is the first that we have found with the name different from his province. Hernando returned to the town, which, okay, consisted of 250 large houses. We read that. Besides this principal town, here we go. There were many others throughout that district, half a league, 1, 1.5, 2, and 3 leagues away. Some had 50 or 60 houses, others 100 or more, or less, not counting many other houses scattered about and not arranged in pueblos, towns. The site of the whole province is pleasing, the soil fertile with a great abundance of food, and there are large quantities of fish which the natives catch throughout the year for their subsistence and keep prepared for eating. The governor and his captains and the officials of the real hacienda were all very pleased with what they saw of the good quality of that country and its fertility, and through all the provinces they had left behind them were good. This one had an advantage, inasmuch as its natives were indomitable and exceedingly bellicose, as has been seen, and as we shall see later in some notable instances that occurred in this town, this province, between the Spaniards and Indians individually and generally. You see what I mean? Wordy bastard. To avoid prolixity, however, we shall not recount all of them, but from those that are told, the ferocity of these natives of Appalachia will be seen clearly. 3 captains go to discover the boundaries of Appalachia and the report they bring. After the army had rested for several days and recovered somewhat from their recent great hardships, though during this time the constant alarms and sudden attacks of the enemy did not cease night or day, Hernando sent bands of men on foot and on horseback with specially selected captains to penetrate 15 or 20 leagues into the interior, to see and discover what might be on the boundaries and in the environs of that province. I got a burp. Two captains went by different routes toward the north, one of them being Arias Tinoco and the other Andres de Vasconcelos, who returned without anything of importance. Vasconcelos, who returned without anything of importance having happened to them, one 8 days and the other 9 after leaving the camp. They reported almost in the same words that they had found many towns having many people, and that the land abounded in food and was free of swamps and dense forests.
Yay!
Captain, hurrah! It's easier to kill
Bring
and
the
steal.
horses! Bring the horses! Let's kill them all!
There's rivers of blood up ahead. Hoorah! Captain Juan de Añasco, who went toward the south, reported, on the contrary, that he had found a very rough and difficult country, almost impassable, because of the obstacles he had encountered in the form of woods and swamps, which became worse as he proceeded to south. On noting this difference between the very good and very poor country, I do not wish to go on without mentioning that Alvar Núñez Cabeza de Vaca writes in his
Cowhead. Cowhead.
Is it cowhead? Cabeza de Vaca. Okay. Writes in his comentarios concerning this province of Appalachia. He describes it there as being rough, uneven, full of woods and swamps, with rivers and difficult passes, thinly populated and sterile, all of which is contrary to what we are writing. Therefore, with due regard for what that gentleman writes, for it is trustworthy, we understand that his journey was not so far into the interior as was that with which Hernando de Soto made, but was near the sea coast, and thus the land was found to be so rough and full of woods and bad swamps, as he says. As we shall soon see, the same thing was found and discovered by Captain Juan de Añasco, who went from the chief pueblo of Apalache to find the sea. And he had great good luck in not losing himself time and again because of the bad country that he found. The town that Cabeza de Cowhead, Cabeza de Vaca calls Apalache, to what he says Panfilo de Navarrete came, I believe was not this principal one that Hernando de Soto discovered, but another one of the many that are in this province that would be near the sea, and because of being in its jurisdiction, would be called Apalachee, like this province itself. For in the town we have said was its capital, there was found what we have seen. It is also to be noted that much of the account that Alvarez Nunez wrote of that country is that which the Indians gave him, as he himself says. Those Castilians did not see it, because, as they were few, and most or all of them were captives, it was impossible for them to travel through it and see it with their own eyes, and even to seek food. And thus most of them were left to die of hunger. In the account
Why
that...
didn't they just use drones?
So much easier. You can do that spiritually. You know, we've got spiritual drones.
Where is the group of astral projection?
People laugh, but it's fucking true, dude. It's true. I used to get myself lost in the woods intentionally so I could test it. That's all I can tell you. It fucking works. In the account, in places that you've never been, in the account that the Indians gave him, it is to be believed that they would speak ill rather than well of their country, to discredit it so that the Spaniards would lose their desire to go there. Well, no shit. And thus, our history does not contradict the account of that gentleman. Section 5 of the hardships...
Don't go there, man. Giant spiders.
Right. Giant men. Of the hardships that Juan de Añasco experienced in discovering the sea coast. Man, why are you taking us back to the coast? We are inland. See, this guy does not respect geography or timeline, like, at all. Like, he's just
Grabbing by the scruff of the
30
neck.
years
Get your
ago.
shit
Let's go
together,
back
man.
to where we were 200 pages ago, and I'm going to tell you more about some other dude that went there. Like, what the fuck? We said that one of the captains who went to explore the region of Apalachee was Juan de Añasco. So that the hardships he experienced may be better known then, it must be said that he took 40 cavalry. Man, I'm going to skip to where we get back to Hernando. You want to do that?
Whatever
How am I
works
going?
for you.
I'm going to see how long. God, it's a long section. Yeah, we'd have to skip like, okay, 2 sections. So, okay, y'all, we got to go back in time. Here we go. Okay. We said that one of the captains who went to explore the region of Apalachee was Juan de Añasco. So that the hardships he experienced may be better understood, we're going to start where he took 40 cavalry and 50 foot soldiers. There was also with him a gentleman named Gomez Arias, who was a relative of the governor's wife, a great soldier and very useful wherever he was, because along with his military skill, great industry, and good counsel, he was a very expert swimmer, a useful and necessary thing for conquests, and overcame difficulties that arose in the water and on land. He had been a slave in Barbary, where he learned the Moorish language, and he spoke it so well that he came out from the interior many leagues away on a Christian frontier without the Moors whom he happened to meet, discovering that he was a slave. This gentleman and the men whom we have mentioned went with Juan de Añasco to the south to discover the sea, as they had news that it was less than 30 leagues from Apalachee. They took an Indian to guide them, who offered to do so, making a great show of loyalty and friendship toward these Christians. In 2 days' journey of 6 leagues each, foreshadowing, which they traveled over a very good road, wide and smooth. 6 leagues each day, traveled over a very good road, which was wide and smooth. Okay. Butt flaps. They came to a town called Ayut. They found it without people, but full of food. On this road, they passed 2 small rivers, easy to cross.
Without people, everybody knew that they were coming.
Everybody's like, here come the rapists. Come on, Ma, we got to go. From the town of Ayut, they went on with their search, taking food for 4 days. On the 2nd day, they traveled by this same wide and good road. The Indian who was guiding them began to deceive them, it appearing to him that it was a bad thing to be a faithful guide to his enemies. No doubt, bro. Thereupon he led them out of the wide and good road that they had followed up to that time and set them among some thick and dense woods, very hard to travel through, with many fallen trees and without a road or path. Some small plots of ground that they found, about the size of kitchen gardens without timber, were themselves so miry that horses and foot soldiers sank into them.
Yeah, but how stupid were the Spanish? Because obviously the road would lead them to the next town. They wouldn't.
Right.
Why would you leave the road?
Yeah.
So that part's always. It's not the first time it happens, and I find it very strange. Why would you accept to get out of the road? Because the road obviously, and they know that road connects the towns.
Yeah, I completely understand the guy misleading them, but you're right. This is the 2nd time where it's like, why you got a road? Why are you letting the guy like? Bright, aren't we? Very bright. On top, they were covered. Okay, so we've got these little plots of land the size of kitchen gardens, and the soldiers sink into them. On top, they were covered with grass and looked like solid ground on which one could walk safely. They found on this road, or in this forest, to speak correctly, a species of bramble with long and thick branches that extended over the ground and covered a large area. They had they had long, straight thorns that hurt the horses and foot soldiers cruelly, and though they tried to guard against these vicious brambles, they could not, because there were a great many of them, and they were spread between 2 layers of earth, covered with mud or sand or with water. With these difficulties and others that can be imagined, these Castilians traveled off the road for 5 days. Wow. Turning this way and that as the Indian wished to take them according to his whim, to deceive them or place them where they could not get out. Okay, so for 5 days they followed him through this shitty stuff? Wow.
It's hard to believe.
It's pretty, they're ridiculously stupid if this is true. When the food that they took from the town of Ayut was exhausted, they decided to go back there to get more provisions and then continue their search. On turning back toward Ayut, they suffered more hardships on the way than in going out, because they were forced to retrace their steps along the same route in order not to become lost. And as they found the earth already trampled by their former passage, the horses and even the infantry sank in the mud more than when the trail was fresh. In the midst of these fatigues and hardships, the Castilians understood well enough that the Indian had lost the road purposefully, because 3
Did
times, right? No shit, y'all, 5 days for real. Because 3 times they found themselves in the midst of the woods, so close to the sea that they could hear the surf. But as soon as he would hear it, the Indian again would lead them into the interior, hoping to entrap them where they could not get out and would perish of hunger. And though he should die with them, he was satisfied if by doing so he could kill them. The Christians knew all this, but they did not dare confront him with it for fear of offending him more than he already was, and also because they had brought no other guide. Wow. Having
It's very
returned
confusing. It's all very confusing.
Man, I thought, they like to call the natives stupid, but I'm getting a very different story here, Ricardo, and from one of their own. Having returned to Ayut, where they arrived, dying of hunger, as men who for 4 days had eaten nothing except herbs and roots, they took... There's a joke there about Hernando, but we'll leave him and his roots alone. They took provisions for 5 or 6 days more, as there was a great abundance of them in the town, and went back to their exploration, not by better roads than the past ones, but by others, worse ones, if worse there could be, or if the diligence and malice of the guide could find them as he desired to do.
At
Why are
that
they still
point,
letting this guy guide them?
at that point, they deserve it.
I'm confused, Ricardo.
That's not normal.
I'm confused. One night when they were sleeping in the forest, everybody's like, I know, that's obvious. One night when they were sleeping in the forest, the Indian, unable to put off longer the time of killing the Christians, seized a stick from the fire and struck and injured one of them in the face. I don't believe this account. The other soldiers wished to kill him for his shamelessness and boldness, but the captain prevented it, saying that they must tolerate him because he was the guide and they had no other. They went back to rest, and an hour later he did the same thing.
So they couldn't go back to the village and get another guide. They couldn't re-step their steps.
This motherfucker has taken a hot ember, slapped one of them across the face.
I think what they're saying is that guy
Made him
did
starve
something.
for 5 days.
Did
They went
something
back
to
and got
him.
refills, didn't get a new one, and now gonna let him slap him in the face a second time
Well,
with a fiery stick.
See it at this perspective. That guy was the only one who understood what was going on and confronted him, and probably slapped him and roughed him a little bit. And the guy grabbed the stick and threw it in his face.
Look, yes, but I want to know what group of grown men, bro, can't find their way back from where they came. Like
Well,
you got 100 men, and you're telling me
we are
that
not talking
like
about explorers or guys with experience.
obviously, right? I mean, obviously.
Well,
I-
they are answering you from the grave saying, we were there to kill people, not to orientate ourselves.
Dumbass, your mistake was thinking we're here to explore. We like raping women and killing people. Is it not obvious? We need gold, please. Thank you. What's all this morality stuff?
It's like the guy could
Anyhow,
have
so there's-
taken them to a cliff and said, just keep forward. Full speed, please.
We don't have another guide. It's like, man, north, south, bro, sunset. You know, it's not. You
Well,
hear
in the
that?
middle of the
That's
woods.
ocean.
In the middle of the woods, you can't exactly see.
They said they got so close to the ocean they could hear it. Okay. Now, if you're trying to find the seacoast, how many damn times
They
are you
didn't
gonna
know
let
how
somebody
wide the
tell
country
you?
was. They didn't know how wide the country was. It could be the other side ocean.
They weren't explorers. It's settled. You can't convince me otherwise.
No, they were stupid.
They weren't explorers. That's for sure. We are not reading the chronicles
Not being
of an
explorers is the
exploring.
least of their problems at this point.
This
because
is true.
They
They're sort of psychotic, aren't they?
they are stupid.
Yeah.
Because
I guess-
I wouldn't get out of the road.
Yeah, I guess stupidity does kind of go in the territory of psychotics. It's sort of hand and, what do you say? Hand and fist goes together. Like peas and carrots. The Spaniards did. Okay, so here we go. He's going to attack the second one now with a stick on fire. They went back to rest. An hour later, he did the same thing to another Castilian. Then,
Keep being dumb, he'll kill them all.
then they gave him many blows, kicks, and cuffs by way of punishment. But this did not prevent the Indians beating still another soldier with another fire stick before morning came. 3 of them. The Spaniards now did not know what to do with him, for by the time being they contented themselves with beating him and putting him in chains, by which he was attached to one of their number so that he could keep special watch over him. Oh, I bet he did. As soon as morning came, they resumed their march, suffering from much the hardships of their past route and the present one, and angered by the bad behavior of the guide. After I don't know how we ever had these people held up as heroes, bro. Like, I'm really bothered that I didn't read this when I was a kid.
Did you remember that I said that 70% are retarded? It's not a
Yeah.
present thing. It was already at that time.
Yeah, but I don't like using retard negatively because I call myself God's own retard. So these
Well,
people are
when I'm
just
saying
psychotic
retard,
dumbasses.
When I mean retard, it's not the people that actually have that medical condition. I mean
Right, that's why I own it and wear it.
retard in the sense that they were stupid. They were clearly
really were.
stupid because
I mean, they were not equipped for the job.
if I knew what I was doing, I would not sleep knowing that there was one of theirs free-handed to do anything to anybody, especially after he attacked the first one. I would
Bro,
not sleep.
how are we going on 10 days of hunger, refuel, and getting lost? I mean, like, for
I don't
real.
know.
What's wrong with these men?
I have no idea.
Like, that's not a decision I can see making. I don't get it.
I wouldn't even get out of the road. Why should I get out of the road?
I mean, at the end of the day, just kill the motherfucker and go back and get another one. I mean,
What is he
stay
saying?
near
That-
the food until you got somebody that's working. I mean, shit.
Just think of this. So is this road not going anywhere? You just made the roads just because you like roads?
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Because they
So
haven't
why?
seen any village that is not connected by a road. Any.
Right.
They didn't found any village that was in the middle of a swamp with nothing around it.
Good point. Good point.
So that part of the story is just I don't think it really happened. He's just
know.
trying to make an odyssey of that part of the book. He's trying
Could
to
be.
make grander those two captains. That's the only two that he named.
Well, he could be trying to just cover up the stupidity. I mean, could have been somebody told him this tale and he was like, I can't write that shit. Do you know how stupid that makes us sound? I can't. I'm going to have to embellish this a little bit. 10 days, y'all let this motherfucker lead y'all through the woods? I'm not writing that.
It's not just woods. It's woods of thorns. Wood. If it's just woods, okay, we're just going to do some shortcut. But it's woods of thorns. They were sticking their foot with the armor. It's big thorns. Even the horses were suffering.
Yeah, no.
So it doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't. Okay, checking in with the chat. All right, and let me get back to where we are. Not making sense with these people. And who's that? Oh, okay, gotcha. Now, as soon as morning came, they resumed their march, suffering much from the hardships of their past route and the present one, and angered by the bad behavior of the guide. After they had traveled a short distance, the latter, seeing himself in the power of his enemies and being unable to kill them or to escape from them, despairing of his life, attacked the soldier to whom he was chained and, grasping him from behind, raised him up and threw him full length on to the ground. And before he could get up, he jumped on him with both feet and kicked him. The Castilians and their captain, unable to endure such outrages any longer, stabbed and speared him until they left him for dead. Okay. I guess he had to
So-
make that death noble. That's why he said all this. You know, that's probably they had to give a reason for them killing him.
I think they are now lost and without a guide.
Lost without a guide, hungry, and just speared somebody to death, all of them. So now they're just murderers wandering hungry through land that does not belong to them, pretty much. As soon as, okay, so let's kill the guy. The Castilians and their captain killed him. Okay. A strange thing was noted, however. And this was that the swords and spearheads entered into and cut his body so little that he seemed to be enchanted. The many gashes he received wounded him no more than blows from a wand made of shoots from the quince or wild olive tree. Angered by this, Juan de Añasco raised himself in the stirrups, and grasping his spear with both hands, struck him with all his strength. And though he was a strong and robust man, the spearhead did not go but halfway in. When the Spaniards saw this, they wondered at it, and they loosed a greyhound to finish killing him by grasping and tearing him. So ended this treacherous and malicious Indian as he deserved. See, this is exactly what I'm telling you, dude. He had to make up this long embellished tale to excuse the tearing him apart with dogs.
Even the swords couldn't penetrate him.
Yeah, so we let the dogs on him. My ass, you murderous sick fucks.
I think
Captain
one of the
Juan-
fingers was still twitching. That's it.
Yeah, right. He was a magical man.
For
We
so much
had
blows
to-
in the head.
Yeah. I believe that they thought he was magical. If they were dumb enough to let him lead them for 10 days and go home,
they were highly
and
superstitious.
still use him.
Highly superstitious.
Okay, so he
and,
finally
and
makes it to the
delirious
water.
at this point, because without food at this point, and sleepless and so on.
Yeah.
and so forth.
So we had to feed the magic man to the dogs. The dogs were really hungry, you know. The Castilians had not gone. Speaking of dogs, what's up, buddy? There's Jacob.
Is he hungry?
No, he just came in from outside.
Just a bit of a flank.
You hungry? You hungry? I bought him a whole rawhide bone today. It was a huge one, and I brought it home. And even my dad was like, "I don't know. That's probably too big because he can't get his mouth on it like he usually does." And I wanted to go to the creek without Jacob today because I bathed him so good last night. So I went to the creek, and I'm down in the creek, and Wayne sends me a picture. And I shit you not, it's half of the bone. And Wayne just says, "Never mind." I was wrong.
It's magic.
Jacob handled half of it in the space of 20 minutes. He's fierce, man. These jaws are something else. Break our sticks all the time. We go to the creek, and he likes for me to throw sticks, you know, and he goes in water and chases it. And I'll get him back, and I try to get the stick from him, man. And he just rips it off and goes running off with it. The Castilians had not gone 50 paces from the dead Indian, whom they believed to be dead and eaten by the dog, when they heard the hound giving great howls, clamoring as if they were killing him. Our men ran to see what it was and found that the Indian, with his little remaining strength, had placed his thumbs on either side of the dog's mouth and was tearing his jaws apart. The dog, being unable to help himself, seeing this, one of the Spaniards stabbed him repeatedly, finally killing him. And another cut off his hands with the hunter's cutlass that he carried, and after they were severed, he could not loosen them from the dog's mouth, so desperately had he grasped it. After this event, the Spaniards resumed their march, marveling that a single Indian should have been the means of giving them so much trouble. I think it was your stupidity, Hoss, that gave you the trouble. But as they did not know in which direction to go, they were confused. Speaking of, uncertain what to do.
I think they were born in that state, but
I believe, and I think they died in it. In this dilemma, they were helped by an Indian whom they had happened to take on their past route when they were returning to the town of Ayut, and they had kept him with them continuously. Though it is true that before the death of the Indian guide, the Spaniards had questioned him many times as to whether he knew the route to the sea, he never answered a word, remaining silent because the other had threatened him with death if he talked. Seeing then that the obstacle was removed and that he was rid of his companion, and fearing that they might kill him as they had the other, he spoke. No, not going to happen. He spoke and replied to what they were then asking him. By means of signs and a few words that he knew, he said that he would take them to the sea, at the same place where Panfilo de Narvaez had built his boats and had embarked, but that it was necessary to go back to the town of Ayut because the direct route to the sea began there. Although the Spaniards told him that it must be nearby, because from where they were they could hear the sound of the waves and surf, he replied that they would never in their lives reach the sea by the way that they thought to go, and that the other Indian was taking them, because of the many swamps and the impassable woods that lie between. Go ahead.
And they could hear it, but they couldn't reach it.
Right. Okay. Because of the thereupon the Castilians returned to the town, having spent 5 days on this second journey and 10 days on the first, at the cost of much personal hardship and with the loss of 15 days, which was what they most regretted because of the anxiety that Hernando would feel at their delay. I bet. Returning to the town then, Gomez Arias and Gonzalo Silvestri, who were going on ahead exploring the country, seized 2 Indians who they found near the town. Being questioned as to whether they knew how to guide them to the sea, they replied that they did and confirmed everything that the Indian whom they were bringing as prisoner had told them. With these hopes, the Spaniards rested that night, somewhat more easily than on the 15 nights past.
But they hide all the sticks near the fire.
Yeah. The next day, the 3 Indians guided the Christians along a smooth, clear, and pleasant road between 2 large and good fields of stubble. Leaving them behind, the road became wider and more open, and they found no bad crossings throughout its length, except one narrow swamp that was easily passed, the horses sinking only to the pastern. Having marched a little more than 2 leagues, they reached a very wide and spacious bay, and proceeding along its shore, they came to the site where Panfilo de Narvaez had camped. There they saw where he had the forge on which he made the nails for vessels. They found much charcoal around it. They saw also some thick beams hollowed like troughs, which had served as mangers for the horses. The 3 Indians showed the Spaniards the site where the enemy had killed 10 Christians of Narvaez's party, as Alvar Nunez Cabeza de Vaca also tells in his history. They took them step by step all along the route, followed by Panfilo de Narvaez, pointing out the spots where such and such things had occurred. Finally, they admitted none of the notable things that Panfilo de Narvaez did on that bay, recounting them by signs and with words well or ill understood, some spoken in Spanish, for the Indians of all that coast pride themselves greatly on knowing the Spanish language and try diligently to learn the few odd words, which they repeat over and over.
Silly
Captain Juan de Añasco, it's very silly, and his soldiers went about very carefully, looking to see whether they might have placed some letters in hollow trees or cut some words on the bark that would tell some of the things that these others had seen and noted. Because it had been a very unusual and customary thing for the first discoverers of new lands to leave such messages for their successors. And these messages often have been of great importance, but they could find nothing of the sort for which they were looking. After doing this, they followed the shore of the bay all the way to the sea, which was 3 leagues away, and at ebb tide 10 or 12 swimmers embarked in some old abandoned canoes they found and sounded the depth of the bay in mid-channel. They found it deep enough for large ships. Then they put signs on the highest trees thereabouts so that those who came coasting by sea could recognize that site, which was the same one where Panfilo de Narvaez embarked in his 5 vessels. So unfortunate that none of them survived. Having taken the precautions described and set them down in writing so that those who might come to it should not miss the place, they returned to the camp and reported to the governor everything that had happened and what they had done. Hernando was much relieved to see them because he had been concerned at their delay, and he was glad to know that there was a port for the ships. 30 lancers are made ready to return to the Bay of Espiritu Santo, Part 7. How are we doing on time?
We have 15 minutes.
Okay. We'll just see how long Part 7 is. Yeah, we can get through Part 7. Let's do it. If I can quit scrolling. Oh my God, I broke my scroller. Okay, there we go. It's like floating and doing its own thing. While the 3 exploring captains went out and returned with the reports of what each of them had seen and discovered, Governor Hernando de Soto did not rest or remain idle. Oh, I bet he didn't. But on the other hand, he was considering in his own mind and preparing with all care and vigilance the things most advantageous for his army. Therefore, seeing that winter was approaching, it was then October, he thought it best not to continue his discoveries that year, but to winter in the province of Apalachee, where there were plenty of provisions. He planned to send for Captain Pedro Calderon and the other Spaniards who had remained with him in the province of Hirahigua to come and join him, because they were not doing anything of importance where they were. To this end, he ordered as many supplies collected as possible. He had many houses built besides those in the town so that there would be comfortable lodgings for all of his soldiers. He had a site fortified that seemed suitable for the safety of his men. During this time, he did not cease to send messengers to Capafi, the lord of that province, with gifts and friendly messages, begging him to come out peaceably and to be his friend. The latter was unwilling to accept any of these
he needed a friend.
terms. Yeah, he was lonely. He needed something to caress. But instead, fortified himself in a very wild forest full of swamps and difficult passes, which he chose for the defense and protection of his person. Smart dude. The things stated being arranged and provided for, the governor ordered the accountant, Juan de Añasco, to prepare to return to the province of Hirahigua, because it seemed to him that this gentleman was the most successful captain and had had better fortune from the beginning of his expedition than any of his others, and that such a man, who had also his other good qualities as a soldier, was needed to surmount the dangers and difficulties he would encounter. In consideration of these things, he ordered him to take 29 lancers, who were ready, he himself making 30, and return with them to the town of Hirahigua by the same road the army had taken, so that Captain Pedro Calderon and the other soldiers who were with him might be advised of what the general ordered them to do. The task was a very severe one, because those who went would have to go back over almost 150 leagues of country, inhabited by brave and cruel enemies, filled with large rivers, forests, swamps, and difficult passes, a crossing in which the whole army had been in great danger. This would be even greater now that only 30 lancers were going, and they would necessarily find the Indians better prepared than when the governor passed, and because of the injuries received, more angry and desirous of avenging them. You think you left a river of blood, and now you're worried that if you go back, they might be a little angry. Yep. But all this did not, all this did not suffice to make the 30 gentlemen now prepared refuse to go on the expedition. Rather, they obeyed readily and with all promptness, because they were men of such spirit and courage, who went through so many hardships, dangers, and difficulties, as we shall see. It will be fitting to set down their names, and we are including those whose names are remembered. Those who are missing will forgive me and accept my respects. For I would like to have information not only of them, but of all those who went to conquer and win the New World. I wish also that I could attain the historical eloquence of the most, good luck with that, bro, of the most illustrious Caesar in order to spend my life recounting and celebrating their great exploits. To the extent that these have been greater than those of the Greeks, the Romans, and other nations, so much more unfortunate have the Spaniards been in lacking someone to write of them. And it is no small misfortune to these gentlemen that the story of their deeds came into the hands of an Indian, whence they will emerge impaired and defaced rather than written as they deserve to be and as they occurred. In having done what I could, however, I have complied with this obligation, though I have a greater fund of goodwill to serve them than of power or ability. Like your words, don't you, bro? The gentlemen chosen were the accountant and captain Juan de Añasco, a native of Sevilla, Gomez Arias, a native of Segovia, Juan Cordero and Alvaro Fernandez, natives of Yves, Antonio Grillo, native of Illescas. He was one of the 13 who revolted in Cusco with Francisco Hernandez Giron in the year 1553. Francisco de Villalobos and Juan Lopez Cacho, citizens of Sevilla, Gonzalo Silvestri, a native of Herrera de Alcantara, Juan de Espinosa, a native of Ubeda, Hernando Atanasio, a native of Badajoz, Juan de Abadia, a Biscayan, Antonio de la Candea and Francisco Segredo, natives of Medellin, Bartolome de Argote and Pedro Sanchez from Astorga, Juan Garcia Pechuda, a native of Albuquerque, and Pedro Moron Mestizo, a native.
Mestizo.
How is the mestizo going to be named Moron? A native of the city of Bayamo in the island of Cuba. The soldier had a most unusual gift in that he scented and picked up a trail better than a pointer dog. It often happened in the island of Cuba that when he and others went out to hunt for rebellious or runaway Indians, he could follow their trails to the underbrush or hollow trees or eaves where they were hidden. He also could detect fire from the odor more than a league away, and many times in this exploration of La Florida, without flame or smoke having been seen, he said to his companions, "Look out, there is a fire near us," and they would find it half a league or a league away. He was
Is that the guy that discovered that Cuba has water all around it?
Apparently. I mean, like sniffing a fire from a mile away. I mean, I don't know.
It depends on the wind.
Wind. That's all wind, y'all. And
Yeah, but some people are more sensitive to certain smells than others. So.
It's true, but I mean, I'm just saying it doesn't seem like that big a feat to me. I mean, a mile is not that far.
Well, when you allowed yourself to be driven out of the road for 5 days, amidst
15,
thorns.
15. No, let's not shortchange them. 10 days the first time, 5 days the second time.
Okay, 15 days. When you allow such a thing, a guy that can smell fire might be useful.
Of course he would, and he's a good swimmer, and he's like a slave to them. So that's probably pretty.
Yeah,
cool
and he has
too.
mestizo in his name,
Yeah,
which means he's half-breed.
Right, and they used him for hunting runaway slaves in Cuba. So he's a turncoat. He's like he'd hunt down one of his own, basically. Like, I mean, again, their words. Look out! And he was right, and he was an expert swimmer. Okay, we have said already. With him went his comrade and compatriot Diego de Oliva. Diego de Oliva, a mestizo and a native of the island of Cuba. Thus ends Section 7. Section 8. what the 30 horsemen did until their arrival at Vitachuco and what they found there.
Well, take a note of that so you don't forget. And
We are on
continue next time.
page 822 by the PDF. So I will write that down. 822. And we are at the end of another episode of Finding Things Within and Without. We have a few minutes left if we want to
Oh, you can
recount.
give us scenes of the next chapter.
Well, they're going back to Vitachuco, which we spent a lot of time learning about Vitachuco and all he did there. Hey, there's Tree Buddy in chat. There's Rubate. Haven't you guys found DeSoto yet? Rue, we're dealing with a troublesome author from the 1500s that likes words a whole lot. Like a lot. So that we're stumbling through here slowly. What's up, Tree Buddy? Good to see you, Ryan. Catching the end, conquering when the new one. Yeah, you ought to go back and watch the beginning. Tell me how I did. I let some feelings out, and I don't, I like to be a decent example. And I was calling out some people, so I trust you. Double check the first part of this when you get a second in your very busy life. Let me know how I did. But yeah, we're learning a lot. It's good to see everybody. Thanks everyone for at least just popping in and saying hello in the chat. We greatly appreciate this. Screwdriver, I see you. Thank you for hanging in here. I'm sorry I don't get to sort of get back to the chat when I'm trying to plow through this reading with you guys. But I know you're here and I'm doing it for you. So thank you very, very much for joining us. I'm doing it for all of us because we're all learning a good bit as we go through this. Ricardo, what sort of closing messages or words do you have for us today?
Do I?
Yeah, do you? I mean, I'm giving you the floor.
Well, I think we saw today another example of minimizing as much as possible native abilities, aside from bravery and treachery, and exalting psychopath behavior from the part of people where they don't belong.
Yeah, we saw a lot of that, and we saw a lot of trying to, I guess, trying to excuse pretty crappy behavior. That's
Yeah,
what
but
I got out of a lot of
this
that.
is clearly written to appeal to the nobles, especially probably to the court, right? So it is at the same time an exaltation of the writer as is an exaltation of the work that those.
Yeah, you can tell he's kind of writing for his life a little bit, can't you? The way
Yeah,
he keeps
because
going
they would
on
receive.
Yeah.
You know how many of those guys were writing this and trying to put this into the court. The reason that this text survived is because he was selected to survive and probably received 50 or 100 crowns for his work, because they would lose the rights to their work. It's just give it to the court and that's it. And so they were writing with all of these flowers because they had to appeal to the king. If the guy wrote it, well, our soldiers were a bit stupid, it wouldn't appeal, because this is the propaganda of the state of the time. The exaltation of their soldiers and their bravery and their great efforts and with great pains that managed to subdue and conquer the savages, right? With bigger roads than their own,
and the big takeaway for me was that 2 league wide cornfield, man. I mean, 3 miles of farm is a lot of farm. For a bunch of butt flap wearing savages
that didn't have agriculture.
Right.
And if you have
Hunter-gatherers.
And if you have this amount of fields, it also means that you have some system of keeping a record
Right.
of what is produced on those fields, right?
Didn't have
That's the reason that
mules,
Sumeria
didn't have
developed
horses.
writing.
Yeah.
It was because of agriculture. It was not because of writing poems. It's because they want to keep
Keeping up with the
accounts
food.
of the food.
Yeah, it's so true. I mean, you know, I'm blown away by 3 miles of corn, man. That's a lot, y'all. I don't know how many of y'all spend a lot of time on foot, right? I spend a lot of time on foot, and 3 miles is a long damn way. And 3 miles of corn, I can't even like think of somewhere I can go and see 3 miles of the same trees. You know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't exist, you know? And to be told that these people were nothing and that they were worth running over.
To
you
put
know.
on perspective, 3 miles is almost an hour at regular human pace.
Yeah, yeah. It's a lot of corn and squash and beans, and they were growing them in this triumvirate sort of system, you know, where one plant fed nitrogen back into the roots, and you know all of that. They worked together. It's such technology, is what it is. It's technology, you know. Yeah, that was my big takeaway, and the size of these towns, bro. Because when they say 250 large houses, y'all got to remember they're talking native long houses, right? As they put out in their descriptions earlier, and they're like, when every time we say houses, this is what we're talking about, and that's like an apartment building, man. How big is, dude? I was just helping a friend over in Auburn move out of this apartment complex, right? And it's standard, you know, big ass buildings with like 4 levels and 2 apartments on each side. Okay, make every one of those 2 levels or 2.5. And there weren't but 20 in that apartment complex. You know what I'm saying? How big is 250? And we're told that these, you know, the movies showed me growing up teepees and shit, you know? And we're told they didn't exist outside of the mound sites that are known. Like, that's where the towns were. Yet we read here, everywhere they went, there was crops and people.
Town after town.
Town after town. It's just, that's why I like going through this, because it is a very different picture than the one we all just sort of take for granted and carry in our head because somebody gave it to us. And on that note, if you too are an independent researcher, activist, artist, come find us at the Institute of Natural Philosophy. Institute for, why do I keep saying of, bro? I even put the IFNP down here to remind me. It's for. Like, plus you had yours, so it made me feel like left out. So I put mine up there.
Thank you.
Thank you, man. Thank you for all you're doing and all you have done and all you continue to do. Thank you, everybody that's joined us. What's Rue saying down here about his style of writing? This damn chat is jumping everywhere. There's Tree Buddy. There's Catman. Let's see if I can get Rue. Rue, it is the high style of writing similar to Lincoln's Bixby letter, written in the days when language was a high art and writers wrote as much for their words. Yeah, I mean, I agree. Again, I'm only making fun of it as the guy that has to read it out loud, and it gets a little old. You know? I'm not like, you know, putting the dude down. That's the performer in me going, man, switch it up. Use a period. All right, guys, thank you very much. Folsom and Clovis Point show a grand population as well.
Yeah.
Agreed. All right, I'm going to go get some much needed rest. Ricardo, it's morning time where you are. Good luck with breakfast.
3:30 in the morning, so I'm going to bed.
Yeah, it's 9:30 here, and I'm doing the same shortly. All right, everybody, we're going to end this officially, and I'm going to say thank you very much to everyone that attended and tolerated my messages and my reading. And I love you guys. Our best future requires the truth of our past. Ricardo, tell them the thing about coincidences, and I'll end it.
Well, coincidence takes planning.
We'll see you all next time for our live reading of Ricardo and Jason doing Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead by popular demand. Good night.